Hey everybody, how's it going? Dan Shinder here on Drum Talk TV. Wow, I can't believe we're winding down 2023, and I'm so excited to share with you our good friend and one of my favorite drummers of one of my favorite bands, Roger Earl, founding member and drummer of Foghat. How are you, Roger?
I'm fine. Good to see you, Dan. It's been a few years. I'm doing fine. The world has been kind to me. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe I should thank my parents for their genes. I don't know. I had great parents. I play in a great rock and roll band. My bandmates are just that, bandmates. We're making music. We're playing all over the country and hoping to go to Europe and a few other places.
Nice.
And life is good.
You know, every time I see you, you look younger. I mean, the last few times, and you're like, what, 105 now or something like that? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
104, 104.
But you look great as well. That's awesome. So let's just launch right into this new album. It's called Sonic Mojo, and I love the construction of the names. The naming of this is great because sonic is a frequency with the ability range of the human ear of waves and vibration, of course,
Right.
mixed with mojo, which is a charm or amulet thought to have magic powers. So sonic music vibrations that have magic powers is perfect, and it's your 17th
Dan,
studio
you've been
album.
doing your homework.
I
You've been
have.
doing
Yeah,
your homework.
17th album. And
Yeah.
this is what surprised me when I was looking at the notes from Linda. I remember when you were working on the previous album because we worked together back then, and that was 7 years ago.
Ouch.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was
Uh,
right before we moved to Arizona. So that's the last time you were at our house in Las Vegas. That's the math that we were talking about earlier with Linda when we were trying to figure out when that was because it was when you were working on that album.
yeah. How time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
It does go up. Yeah, we should do this more often. At least once a year. Come on, what's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, definitely. So here's I'm going to show everybody first the album cover, but what's really cool is that I'm going to show a picture of, and I know that Roger also. I'm over here, folks, next to the album cover. I know that Roger also has one with him, but I've got to show this picture of something that also opens up a whole other topic. Vinyl, purple vinyl. What is the weight of this again? It's like
One,
180
one,
grams, right?
yeah, 180. Yeah.
Yeah, 180 gram, 11 tracks on the purple vinyl, and 12 tracks on the CD. It's a gatefold. There's a booklet with the CD. What do you think of the whole? Let's before we talk about the making of the album and things. What do you think of the whole topic of vinyl coming back and all of that? And I was telling you guys before we went live, I have a bunch of vinyl back here that we're getting from artists, but I haven't played it because my only record player is a 1924 Victrola, and I'm not gonna play it on that. But is the warmth back and all that stuff? What's your take on the whole thing?
But what happened was my last, but it's Scott Holt, our new lead, who's been with us 2 years now. We've
Yeah,
known each other since 2014. Is now our lead singer and guitar player. He co-owns a record store in Columbia, Tennessee. So he's a huge vinyl fan. My last record player, I like to call them, was in a corner, like not looking too well. And last birthday, he bought me a new deck and speakers.
oh nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, he is a friend indeed. He is what I digress a little bit, but Scott Holt has brought new life and excitement to the band. He is just an absolute gem as a human being. As a guitar player, he's absolutely outrageous, and his tempo and feel is are great. And
Yeah,
he sings,
he
he
sounds
sings
great.
great. And it's brought a whole new life to the band, I think. And the whole band at the moment is we're like a real band. We play together, we have fun together. Nobody moans,
Yeah,
nobody complains. But most of our dates are fly-ins, but occasionally we'll either rent a Sprinter or a couple of minivans and drive to the next gig, which sometimes can be 3 or 4 or 500 miles, because trying to fly to a gig, like you've got half a dozen like stopovers somewhere,
And
and
it's
then
so unreliable now with flights being late and delayed and losing luggage. It's crazy.
and the real cool thing about it is nobody moans about driving. In fact, they say, "I'll drive." No, no, I want to drive. They actually fight about that. So they don't fight; they
That's
discuss it. But
that's great.
I have 3 other road warriors in the band now, and I have to tell you, it's been a real revelation for me. Like with Scott in the band and with Rodney O'Quinn playing bass, who's a fantastic bass player and a great human being too. It's I'm having the time of my life playing with these guys, and life is fun.
That's awesome. And the other great thing about adding Scott, and every band needs this, he's got a cool haircut. You got to have a shaved head guy, bald guy, egghead guy, right? Chrome dome guy.
um, uh, he's happy with it, and you know, it's only hair. I actually have a collection over the years. I've collected hats because I figure there's going to come a time when my hairs were going to fall out. I just
I don't know.
so I got hats. I mean, I've got all these hats and I wear them on occasion, but I guess I ought to thank my parents, the genes and stuff, or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
it's still so, you know, if you've got it, flaunt it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. So is the vinyl coming back here to stay? I'm hoping this isn't a phase, because the best thing or the worst thing about vinyl going away was the jackets now became this big, and you need, I literally keep one on my desk, a magnifying glass to read the liner notes, and the artwork. I mean, all the work and talent that goes into beautiful artwork on albums got shrunk down to a matchbook cover size.
Right.
I'm really happy about vinyl coming back, even
And
for the sake of
and
that.
a lot of bands putting out CDs, which was the last way you could actually handle the music, as
Right.
it were. But well, you see, I'm very fortunate because I married well, and our manager, who's also my girlfriend,
Yeah, it's
she,
beautiful, big and beautiful.
and
A
there's the back,
gatefold. Yeah,
and there's stories.
it's great.
There's pictures of everybody who works in the band in the office.
So I wanted
Uh,
to talk about that actually. When I saw all the assets for this new album, the first thing I was reminded of was the culture of Foghat goes way back. If you look at Foghat Live, and it's got all the kind of like family type photos of the band and the crew and the staff backstage, and it's a very family oriented culture, isn't it?
but it is, but that's probably because Linda joined us around the time of the live album.
Right.
And I think she encouraged that sort of behavior. Prior to that, um, our manager at the time didn't. I think he was a Beatle fan, so it was the white album or the black album or the blue album, but there wasn't any stories. We had a couple of pictures, of course.
Right.
There were no stories, and I remember at the time thinking that was like, why not have stories? Tell stories,
Yeah.
and and I remember when I was, first got into music and would have albums. Any album that had stories about the artist. I mean, I would like, and I would read it
Yeah.
over and over again, and so that's something that every subsequent Foghat album since 2000 when we did Family Jewels, it's always stories,
Yeah.
because it is there's not just like one or two or even four people that make this work.
Right.
There's a bunch of people. We actually have a great crew, even though sometimes some of them move on, and sometimes our sound engineers have other gigs. We're not working 7 days a week. We work maybe two. We don't work, we play. And so we have two or three people like working in and out. And if somebody can't make it for some reason, they go, I've got somebody who can do this for you. It's like, and it's a lot more fun than I don't know. It's just enjoyable when you have people that you can that are there for the right reasons because they give a shit about what we do, and
Yeah.
they care about other people. They're not obnoxious bastards. It's like life is for living. Life is to sort of enjoy.
And then
And
the
now,
stories are there that are worth telling.
yeah, right. So we try. We tried.
That's
The
great.
only problem we had, like with the nightmare of COVID, was that we couldn't play for a couple of years, obviously, but it also put a huge dent. The band always wanted to go out, or likes to go out after the show to sign autographs, hang out with the fans,
Right.
you know, stuff like that. And so that kind of put a dent on it. We've started doing that from time to time if it works out, and I enjoy that. You know, meeting the fans and talking to them, and then especially if there's drummers out there, that's always fun.
Yeah.
But and kids come up and like I say, yeah, so what do you want to play when you grow up? They say, oh no, I'm going to play drums. I go, give them a pair of drumsticks.
That's
And
so sweet.
I apologize to the parents in advance.
Yeah. They and you know, you're creating memories that will those kids will remember forever. And going back to the storytelling on the album covers, that those are like breadcrumbs of a documentary because I remember being 10 years old and seeing my first documentary of a band, and it was Chicago and the film Caribou at the Ranch. It was Chicago at the Ranch at Caribou Ranch in Colorado. And that whole even at 10 years old, that whole peek behind the curtain thing was just amazing. And that's what people are getting from the storytelling on your album covers. And it humanizes you, and it makes people feel closer to their favorite artists and musicians. I think that's very special.
Actually, talking about documentaries, we've been working on a documentary for the last, I don't know how many years.
20 years.
And yeah, right. 60. We were, first of all, it was like we're writing a book. We've Linda's gathered tons of like information from previous interviews with all members of the band, you know, prior and current.
Yeah.
And then we've been writing a whole bunch of stuff. But then we've started collecting film and getting and people that have worked with us over the years that are still with us as a documentary as well. So we're working on a documentary, and
That's great.
yeah, I've really been enjoying that. We've got some really good people that we're working with, and you know, when I'm not retiring anytime soon, I'll retire when my hands and my feet don't work anymore.
Right.
And every time I have a problem, like with hands, I've had work done on my hands through here, all sorts of stuff here, my knee, my shoulders. But I've got duct tape and band-aids all over my body. No, what happens? My
Stay
manager,
Foghat.
who really cares about my well-being, if I have an issue with something, she makes sure that she finds the right doctor or surgeon who here's the tape. It's
There
really,
you go.
really, really strong. I can't even open it up. It's and actually at this current time for everybody, that I mean, there's a whole new wave of stuff out there, and unfortunately, most insurance companies don't cover it.
Yeah.
And the doctors that I've seen actually treat me like I'm some kind of athlete. Well, that's the attitude anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I tore my shoulder, and my whole shoulder fell down. I was hanging on by a couple of strings. In fact, I did half the album with that. I just had to tape it up with
Wow.
athletic tape, and then I had it reattached this past Christmas. And what they did is they went in, they got hold of the stuff that was still hanging on, and they tied it up to my shoulder and drilled some holes up here and tied it up. And it took a couple of months for it to heal, but there's some incredible stuff out there. PRP, platelet-rich plasma, stem cell therapy.
Right.
It's out there and it works. The trouble is, it's expensive. It's not covered by your insurance companies. And of course, for the longest time, you may even have heard about it. there were various people who said, no, stem cells like an abomination. You can't do that.
Right.
It's yours.
It's yours. Yeah.
Yours is it's yours. So I'm a great advocator for it. And I think it will be exciting once they bring it into the realms of other people who you can afford it.
Yeah. Make it more mainstream.
Mainstream, right? Yeah. So that's why I'm still here and able to play, because I'm the bionic bloke.
So tell us, what was the writing and recording process of this album, and did it differ from how you approached it from other albums in the past?
We have our own studio down in Florida, in DeLand, Florida. It's on
Mm-hmm.
sell 10 acres, make as much noise as we want. And also because we have our brilliant in-house engineer and producer and slide and lead guitar player, Brian Bassett.
Brian, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, not everybody has somebody who is so multi-talented, and probably one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. And so we have our own studio, and we usually go down there. It's in Florida, like January, February, March, around then, and we start the process. We start it with like changing our set around. We add like 4 or 5 or 6 songs to the set, because we tour mostly in the States, North America and Mexico. So it gives us a chance to start playing, and everybody's got ideas, songs, lyrics, riffs, chords, and it's fun. We sit in the living room, we've got everything there, or we sit down either acoustically and we sort of work on stuff. It's a really, I don't know, it's a really cool and easy way to make music. It's not like we've got 2 weeks, got to get the record out. Hurry up, everyone! There's a red
Send
light.
me your files.
Yeah, no, it's very organic. We're
Yeah.
all in the. I've done that as well. Like played long distance, I like to call it.
Yeah.
But it can be done, but it's not as enjoyable when you've got the 4 players in the band in the room. It's we know when stuff is working. Everybody feels it. The whole band goes, yeah, this is working. And other times, like we're working on a song, rehearsing it and trying to flesh it out, as it were. And then eventually we put something down and go, no, that's not working. And when that happens, we put it aside and start something else. If it's, if you've got to fight over a song,
Yeah.
you do it, you take it to the point where it's no fun anymore. You put it aside. All the best songs, I think, come from when everything sort of works and you go, wow. Or like somebody says, what about this? And you go, yeah, that's great. This works. And the other thing is sometimes you have all this peripheral riffs and stuff that we've accumulated over a year of touring. And we go, remember this? We did this at a sound check, and somebody will open up their phone and like play something. You go, that doesn't sound right. And then somebody with better ears than mine goes, I know what that is. And then you bring it into this song because it's going to work.
That's so cool.
Yeah, creating music for us is really, really enjoyable. And I remember in fact, recently I went back to Boogie Motel, when we built that studio here in Port Jefferson on Long Island back in 1980. I think we did 3 or 4 records there. And I don't think I quite appreciated how important it was from a way to sort of really, really sort of be really good and make music. I don't think but I do now, and I did, especially when after Lonesome Dave passed, and then Charlie Hume joined the band. The one thing I knew is we had to have our own studio.
Mm-hmm.
The only way we're going to survive as a band and a viable entity, as it were, we have to make music, and we have to bring it into being a band. It can't just be us playing the songs that we played for the last 10 years. Yeah. You have to be a band. Otherwise, the people aren't going to enjoy it. I don't think you're not going to enjoy it as much unless you're doing stuff. And I'm having the time of my life. What can I tell you?
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm going to read some comments that we have.
Oh
Um,
no!
yeah, let's see.
Comments.
Um, Jadina Gasparin says, congratulations. I'm going to read over here because it's larger. Bear with me, folks. I have a bigger screen over here. Let's see.
All
Um,
right.
and Joseph Cowan says, why the hell are there only, oh, there weren't many viewers at first. And then he says, saw you earlier this year at the Cherokee Casino in Siloam Springs. One of the best
Yeah.
concerts I've ever seen in my life, and you guys played loud, he says. Such a great time. You're forever the heartbeat of Foghat, and then Two Big Hearts, and then very honored to have seen you and today's lineup of the band. You guys are forever awesome. That's huge. That's such nice praise. That's awesome. And folks, if you have questions for Roger, please let me know in the comments, and I'll pass them on. Yeah. So,
I don't think I sent that person any money.
well, it's funny. They just PayPal'd an invoice to me. So, is the tour? Are you still on tour? You're often on tour right now, right? Still, because we
Yeah.
couldn't get out to Las Vegas to see you recently.
Our we have a show coming up in Laughlin.
Oh, in Laughlin.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are we playing Laughlin? I don't have that in front of me. 27th. We're playing with who are we playing with? I know who we're playing with. Is that band from San Francisco that we're playing with?
The Grateful Dead.
No, not the Grateful Dead. No. Who?
Jefferson Airplane.
Jefferson something. Starship.
Starship. Oh, really?
No, who are we playing with? Starship. Yeah, Mickey Thomas's Starship.
Oh, wow, that's awesome! What a show that'll be.
Yeah, that will be great in Laughlin. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then we're kind of winding down. It's like we've got I think about 9 shows before the end of December rolls around, and when we have
Then the
Christmas.
holidays. Yeah.
Holidays.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to show a picture of you guys together, the band members just sitting around. So do me a favor for those who don't know, and even for some who do know, mention each member, what they play, and one word to describe them.
Okay. I'm gonna have fun with this.
Start with Brian. Brian's the one pouring the wine there, folks, in the picture.
Brian Bassett. He is the bright one in the band. He is our lead and slide guitar player. He's also the producer and chief engineer. I'm the bottle washer and cooker. Brian has been in the band 27 years. He also played with Lonesome Dave, was in the band when Lonesome Dave was alive. Also, I think probably was one of Dave's closest friends. Brian, we wouldn't function anywhere near as well as we do without Brian Bassett. He is one of the finest people I know. Who's up next?
Let's go with Rodney O'Quinn.
Rodney. He was handpicked by Craig McGregor, our previous bass player.
Right.
When Craig McGregor passed 7 or 8 years ago, I think, he had lung cancer. But whilst he was still alive, I said to Craig, I said, look, you're in the band as far as I'm concerned. You're the bass player in this band. Craig McGregor in Foghat was, he was a force to be reckoned with. He owned that part of the stage. That was Craig's. So when he became ill, we had actually about 4 different bass players would be sitting in for him. And I said to Craig, listen, when you can't do it anymore, you tell me and then we'll get somebody else. But as far as I'm concerned, you're the bass player in this band. And he said, okay. But we would do shows like, with Deep Purple. And
Yeah.
he'd say, Rog, I think I'll come out and do the Deep Purple show. I said, you feeling better? He said, yeah, I think we only had like either 45 minutes or an hour to do. And he said, yeah, I could do that because he wanted to hang out with like other bands.
Yeah.
We played with ZZ Top. He'd say, yeah, I think I'll come out and do that. Yeah, I'll help you out on that one. And so if we were playing with another band that Craig wanted to do, that's what he would do. But he was Craig McGregor was my brother by a different mother. He also handpicked Rodney O'Quinn.
Yeah.
Rodney had done some dates with us. He was with Pat Travers. He was traveling around the world with Pat Travers and actually basically running everything for the Pat Travers band.
Oh.
But Craig went to see Pat Travers band in near his home out in Pennsylvania, near Wyoming, and he met. Well, we've done lots of shows over the years with Pat Travers. Great band.
Yeah.
Always had a great band, and he met Rodney, and he invited Rodney over to his house for the next morning to have breakfast with him. And so, Craig probably wanted to see what he had under his fingernails, and. Later on that day, probably that day, Craig called me up and he said, Rog, this is the guy you want. I said, what? He said, you need Rodney O'Quinn in the band. He's the one. He's a mini me. So
That's nice.
that's how he got Rodney O'Quinn. He also has got a great voice. Not only is he a fantastic bass player, he is a true road warrior.
Yeah.
Never, always is ready to sort of play. And has a wonderful sense of humor as well. He can usually lighten up if there is a dark moment. I don't ever remember one, but maybe he just laughs a lot. Now Rodney O'Quinn is the he always has bright parts for everybody. He's fantastic to have around, and I'm real fortunate to, especially from a drummer's point of view, to have somebody who can really play that well. Because hey, without the bass player and the drummer, they're nothing. They're nothing without us, right, Rodney?
That's right. Yeah, they're everything, and you guys lock in so well. I remember when I played with you guys at the Golden Nugget. A lot of people may remember this, that there was a promotion going on where you could win a spot to play air guitar with Foghat, and I kind of came up with the idea when you guys were over at the house. You were gonna play that, and I said, well, let's film a promo for it tonight, and I'll edit it up, and I'll come out and play. And I remember you looked across the table and you said, what song do you want to play? And I said, Fool for the City, and you slapped the table and said, that's what I was thinking. So that's what we did, and I played side by side with Brian Bassett, and that's when I first met Rodney, because it was right before that Craig decided not to, go out on the road anymore, bless his heart. But just such a great lineup. And of course, the new kid somewhat on the block, Scott Holt. Tell us about Scott. You kind of did earlier, but think for a moment, what's one word that sums up Scott?
He's a blues musician.
Oh, blues. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He cut his teeth. He joined Buddy Guy's band, I believe, when he was 19 years old on second guitar. He claims that Buddy Guy taught him everything he knows, taught him how to eat, when to go to sleep and when to get up and what to do. And that has stayed with Scott. He is a blues musician. He has, he's a rock and roller, of course, and he also co-owns a record and vinyl store in Columbia, Tennessee, where he lives.
Right.
So he is an avid vinyl fan. In fact, Scott is just. I've known him since 2014. We've been making music together on and off with Earl and the Agitators. He's also played on our previous studio album. He played guitar and sang on a couple of songs as well. So he's always been on the periphery of Foghat. He is absolutely incredible as a performer, as an artist. He's tremendous fun to have around. And once again, he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. He is never obnoxious. He's always real cool. He's friendly. He's warm. He has a heart that is like out here, and you can't help but if you get to know the man, you can't help but love him. And he sings. He's got this incredible voice that can change with and work with every song, whether it's a slow blues, a sad one, or a rocker. And his guitar playing, that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I am absolutely blessed. Like, these guys are just the best. I've had a lot of fun playing with some incredible players in this band, but this band, this incarnation of it, I'm having the time of my life. And I know how blessed and how fortunate I am to have a band like this that I can play in, because, I could probably do a drum solo for 5 minutes and entertain people, but that's it. You need a band.
Yeah, and one thing I do love about this incarnation is there's a strong vocal presence. You've got a lead singer, but you've got some other great vocalists that are in the band, and it's really it's magnified that dimension of the music and the songs, I think.
Yeah, it has. Rodney O'Quinn has got a great voice. He's been with us for a number of years, of course, when Charlie Hume was in the band, but he never got a chance to sing lead vocals then. I guess that was how it was then. But with this band, Scott, that's another beauty about Scott Holt. He encourages everyone, like, come and sing, come and play, get involved in what we're doing.
That's cool.
And he encouraged Rodney to sing. Rodney sings 3, 4, 5 songs, maybe 6 songs even that we didn't get any on the record, unfortunately, but maybe next time. But on stage, Rodney sings 4 or 5 songs. So,
wow.
And Brian Bassett's got a great voice too. The Brian is a little more reserved, but I think Scott has actually started bringing him out of his, I don't know, shouldn't say shell, but encouraging him to sing. Brian has a great voice, actually. And also on the last record, I sing bass harmonies wherever they're necessary on choruses and stuff.
Cool.
Hold on. Can you see this?
Yes. Johnny Cash Museum.
I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. When I was
cool.
growing up in Southwest London, I'm 12, 13 years old. My older brother, Colin, would have all the early Sun records with Johnny Cash on them. Jerry Lee Lewis. It was so I'm singing Johnny Cash songs, even though he didn't have a drummer.
That's
cool. There was always this rhythm in Johnny Cash tunes, and there was always a story.
Yeah.
Now, as a kid, you love stories. I didn't always understand what he was singing about. I didn't understand because I wasn't Americanized at the time, but I knew what I liked. And Johnny Cash, I would be the 13-year-old kid riding my bike, school singing, well, she loves you, Big River, more than me.
Good.
Well, I met her accidentally in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's enough of that. Sorry about that.
No, that was great.
I never got to meet Johnny Cash, but to me, he was a musical hero. I loved the fact that there was always a story, and the few times that he actually would talk about stuff, and he had a rather traumatic career, I think. Hey, if you don't upset some people, certainly your parents, you probably haven't done the right thing.
Yeah, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. But Johnny Cash was, he epitomized, for me, how can I put this? Maybe a great American. He personified.
He was Americana for sure.
Yeah, he was American. The way he sang, the way he talked, the way he treated people, his ideals.
Yeah.
No, I love Johnny Cash. I was a fan.
That's awesome.
I don't think you get into music unless you're a fan. You have to love music, even though drummers we are a peculiar breed. I know that, but I think it's always for me anyway. It was about the music. I always played in a band.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no aspirations because I didn't have it to be the new Buddy Rich. I mean, people like that come along, once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And there are these fantastic drummers out there that are doing stuff that you can't even begin to follow. And you sit down on do your stuff, like.
Yeah.
But that some of these people are just magic. They're born with magic. They have
Absolutely.
feet, head, hands, and feet. But I play drums in a band, and my job is to drive that band and drive the song back, the singer, the lead guitar, to push it, make it something. So I think right from the very beginning, I understood what the drummer's job, my position was in a band. It was to play and to like lay down the groove. Actually, yeah. And I think I've achieved that most of the time, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I
That's
love playing.
awesome. I'm gonna read some more comments over here.
Oh no!
Yeah, we've got let me scroll. Bear with me, folks. Let's go to oh yeah, Joseph Cowan. Thanks, Joseph, for being so interactive with us. We appreciate it. He says, and I'm looking over here because it's a larger monitor rather than this little thing on the big screen. It's easier to see on this larger monitor. So he says, can't ever go wrong with Johnny Cash. And he says, I would like to know from your perspective on what keeps the use of slide guitar so dominant in your songs this day. No one else pulls it off like Foghat since the beginning. And before you answer, I want to read one more thing. Martin Peters says, really cool. I got to meet you in Bakersfield years ago. Bakersfield, of all places. Cool. So, yeah, what is it about the slide guitar element that's been such a big presence of Foghat? It goes way back to the 70s.
Well, our first when Foghat formed, Rod Price was, got turned up for the audition and got the job. Rod Price was a huge part of this band, and his ability to play slide. Rod emote. He could emote. His whole playing and style of playing, especially slide, was emotion. He had incredible vibrato. I can't even do it. And he was a huge part of this band. When he left the band, it was difficult because our first replacement for him, which was Eric Cartwright, was a great guitar player, but didn't have what Rod had. But when Brian Bassett joined the band, and I have to thank Dave for that. He'd actually toured with Rod Price and shared a room with him. That must have been like the old couple. But Rod was a huge part of this band and his sound. And Brian also is a fantastic slide player. Of course, he toured with Rod and actually shared a room with Rod and worked listening to him. And also, we have to give a nod to all the sort of blues guitar players who were playing slide. But also, I think, I don't think anybody will disagree with me. The Allman Brothers, in my opinion, changed the world of music.
Yeah.
When they appeared, and the way they played. Dwayne Allman was, and then Dickie Betts. Actually, the whole band.
Yeah.
It was
two drummers.
It was magic. Oh, two drummers.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, and a percussionist.
Yeah. And that's not as easy as people
Hold on a second. I want another drummer. Oh, we have a percussionist, actually. My drum tech, Eddie LaFave, does percussion now on stage with us.
Nice. That's right. Yeah.
He's a very accomplished drummer as well, and guitar player. And we've been friends since like the mid-'80s. And my last drum tech moved on, is now working with Styx because they offered him huge amounts of money. But Eddie joined us, and he also plays percussion now on stage, and actually sings background vocals on some songs. Everybody has two jobs in this band. I'm trying to think what my second job is. What's my second job?
You put the
Making
labels
wine.
on the wine bottles.
Oh yeah, and making sure the wine is there. Playing drums. I really only have one, I think. Yeah, I'm the drummer.
That's
But
that's like doing four
everybody,
jobs though, right?
yeah, yeah, right. Heads, hands, feet. Yeah, two hands, 2 feet. Yeah. Hey, try doing that.
That's right.
Yeah, right. We are special, aren't we?
Absolutely. I'm going to read another comment.
Okay.
Let's see here. Bear with me.
Yeah.
This one is make the screen even larger. Oh wow, that's too big. Okay. Um, Let me scroll to where I saw it. Oh, Joseph again. Thank you so much, Joseph. He says this is the best interview ever. Also, thank you so much for reading my comments. I definitely was not paid in any way to show my endless love and support for this man and Foghat. It was truly one of the best, loudest shows I've ever seen. And thanks for the comment on the best interview. I got to give that credit to Roger and the blue light back there. Thank
It
you
is a
so much,
nice blue
Joseph.
light.
Yeah, without that, what would I be, right? Martin Peters. Oh, that's the one that saw you in Bakersfield. Martin also says, I've been playing drums for 46 years now, and Foghat has a big influence on my drumming over the years. Foghat rocks, Slow Ride, and Fool for the City are two of my favorites. I remember, whenever I buy albums, well, back in the day, as it, back in the day, whenever I bought a first album by a band, including Foghat, I always bought a live album first because I wanted to hear the band, like, uninhibited and without the studio magic, just the band. And I remember putting on headphones and playing to Foghat live and playing to exactly those songs. That's why I wanted to do
Playing
Full
for
for
this,
the
mate.
City. Yeah.
Must be really good then.
Yeah. and
I'm all over the place.
it was just fun music to play to, and still is, and fun music to listen to. And it's so cool to hear you guys. The new music is so good, but those classics are still so. I'm going to use the term relevant and valid. They are such a huge part of what has stapled and woven the music of the 70s. Fast forward 50 freaking years or whatever it's been,
You
right?
know, and also, actually, since we had our own studio, like where we've been for what 20 odd years now, we've released, I think, 3 or 4 live albums as well. It was like
Yeah.
4 studio albums, and I think 4 live albums. It's like, you know, Foghat's always been about playing live,
Yeah.
it, right from the very beginning. In fact, here's a quick story. Warner Brothers got in touch with our manager, Linda, a couple of years ago. They'd found some tapes from 1973 with 2 nights of shows that we did at the warehouse in New Orleans. That would have been for Beaver Productions. Don Fox, I think, was in charge then. I love Don Fox. What a great guy. And they sent the tapes to us. They was mixed down onto 2-track. There was nothing we could do to change the quality of the toes. But I spent some serious time listening to it. There was like probably 3 or 4 hours of music, I think, from the shows. Yeah, there was, because we were playing well over an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours a night. Um, some of the tempos I will put down to youthful enthusiasm, but I actually know there was probably some chemical inducements then. But we'll leave it at that. But there were some songs on there. There were songs and some of the jamming that we'd never ever recorded any of these songs, blues songs or songs that I don't even remember doing. And I went through it, and eventually we narrowed it down to which would probably end up being about 2 vinyl records worth. And then we sent back. I sent back my comments and what I thought should go on the record. But I was dubious at first because the quality of the recordings was like pretty. Well, it's 1973. And
yeah, a 2-track.
there was no way we could change anything, the balance of the instruments or anything. But I really listened hard, and there was stuff on there that should be heard. And I think certainly audiophiles and people that are Foghat fans and want to know where we came from, I think it showed on this record. So I gave my okay to release it.
Oh, that's
I don't
cool.
know when and or if, but just because it's not perfect, but there are some magic moments on there, I thought, as well. I mean, "Wanna Make Love to You" is so fast. It's like, and I didn't even start the song off. Tony Stevens did with the bass, and so we'll blame him. But anyway, that should be coming out in the next 2 years or so. But
Wow.
vinyl forever, yes.
That's cool. So before we go, I'm going to do my usual fun fact segment. We've done this so much that I had to kind of drill down a little bit. So the Roger Earl fun fact segment is this. I happen to know from previous interviews, getting to know each other, we share quite a few things: gardening, fishing, hiking, cooking.
Right.
So I have a cooking question for you. What is your most favorite thing to cook?
I probably had 2.
Okay. Is one of them Kentucky Fried Chicken? Oh, just kidding.
No, it's not. Though the only place where I will eat fried chicken is when I'm in Louisiana and
say that.
Or
Georgia?
it's Memphis,
Tennessee.
They have great stuff because that's where Scott comes from. So yeah, 2 things. I make chicken burgers.
Oh,
Now they've got lots of stuff in them, but it's ground up breast of chicken meat, and I put all sorts of stuff in them, and they are fantastic. And I make a special sauce too.
nice.
Chicken burger, and the rolls have to be onion rolls. So that's one. And roast leg of lamb, which I usually do so as soon as the weather gets cold. It's off the bone. The Australians, I think, have the best lamb. But having said that, I'm sure the American farmers will say, "Excuse me." No, leg of lamb off the bone. I put sliced up as much garlic as it will bear. I marinate it in olive oil and probably balsamic vinegar and a few other things. When I'm cooking it, I fill it, the whole leg of lamb with rosemary.
Oh, yeah.
Rosemary bush. And then on the outside, I put salt and Himalayan pink salt and lots of black pepper. And then I roast it. That's probably my favorite dish. In fact, myself and a bass player friend of mine, Fran Sheehan, who used to play with Boston, we're really good friends and played bands together. And that's one of the dishes we like to cook whenever we get together.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah, chicken burgers and roast leg of lamb. That's my favorites.
That's great. And do you favorite towards that time of year because it's like a comfort food kind of a dish?
Yeah, like roasting a leg of lamb warms the whole house.
Yeah.
I tried it a couple of times doing it on the grill. It worked, but I eventually liked the lamb to actually be cooked. But I marinate it for at least 24 hours in the fridge, marinating in the olive oil and balsamic vinegar with everything, and then let it, drip it off a little bit. But it works.
That's awesome.
It's great. In fact, I'm hungry now.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Well, cool. Thanks everyone for following what we do and joining Roger Earl of Foghat and myself, Dan Shinder, here on Drum Talk TV. Roger, hang on for a bit because I know Linda wants to talk with Enja and she wants to say hi to you as well. Get the new album. The details are in the post. Sonic Mojo, November 10th, their 17th studio album, their first in 7 years on the band's label Foghat Records. How'd you come up with that name? It's available as a single CD with 12 tracks, six-page gatefold cover, as well as an 11-track limited edition 180-gram purple vinyl. You want to hold that up again? Show everybody this beautiful. I'm going to get it just to look at the eclipse of the sun through it because I'm afraid to ruin it with a needle. Look at that. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. Our manager did all the artwork. Did I marry well or
You
what?
married well. Yeah, and
Look at
people
this.
can pre-order it now too. The links are in the post, all the storytelling, the inside scoop, the whole, it's like a family album of Foghat. Very cool. Thanks everybody so much. And go to our Facebook page or our Instagram, scroll until you see the promos for our new membership site. We're going to have live stream concerts, live Q&As with big artists, and we're going to be announcing dates near the beginning of the year, and Foghat is going to be one of the bands to give a casual private concert to our members only. So scroll, find that, jump on board. We're coming up on celebrating our 11th anniversary. I can't believe it. So we're finally going to do some really cool in the what would I call it? In the igloo, in the bunker, private stuff for just our members. So jump on board and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Roger. Hang on with me, okay?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks, brother.